Could be circle, it could be hyperbola, could be ellipse, any type. So yeah, we should not remembering the type of general form and then resolving it how it used to do, how it used to. It's really hard to remember any type of transforming or converting it. So this is my tip. So you can only think one method to transform general to standard form without thinking if it's what category is your general form fell into. So if you know how to transpose, I don't know need to explain this, but fine, I will explain it. In transposing, you will transpose the constants. This constant, the constant is the without term, and then if you find something like a lonely term is, for example, if this only if 2y, if there is no 2x, this is the 2y is the lonely term. Lonely term and constant without the term will be transposed to the equal sign. And factoring, if you don't know what is factoring is making it the number looks smaller but it will not change. I'll give you an example what is factoring is. Example, we have 12x and positive 23. How do we factor this? We divide both side by 12 and then put 12 in the front, so x. Oh no, actually we can't factor 23, so it should be 24. my bad. So divide both side by 12. The 12 is, we obtain the 12 here, the divisible by 12 in the front of x. So 12x and 2. This is the factor of 12x positive 24. To check it, 12 times x is equal to 12x. 12 times 2 it equal to 24. That is factor. How do we know if we're gonna use the factor? We will only use the factor if the leading term has a higher than 1. Example, if this thing is x positive 24, you don't need to factor it because there's only 1 here. But if it has a negative 12 on the front, you're supposed to you should factor this because there's a higher than 1 or higher than negative 1, lower than negative 1 and higher than positive 1. That's the thing that you should know before using the factor. If it only have a negative 1 or a positive 1, you should not factor it. The second thing you should know is complete squared. I'll teach you how to complete square. When you complete squared, a general form, you will get the C. You will get the C. I'll give you an example. Example, we have y squared and then negative 12 or negative 2y. Let's say positive 2y. Now we don't have the C term. What do I mean by C term? The leading term is always written by a squared, and then the second term is b, and then the constant is c, and equal to 0. So we're looking for the constant. So how do we find the constant? It's really easy. You will use this b over 2 squared by using the b2 over 2 squared. So it's say here you should use b. So b is the second term. So when you swap the second term to 2 over 2 squared, it will be 2 divided by 2 is 1 squared. 2 times 2 is 1. So the constant here is positive 1. That's the general form. So we find the perfect complete squared of the two terms, the leading term and then the second term. That's how we use the complete squared. Now we'll try if this tree method will work in every type of general form. So first we have the given here is this is a circle. It's really obvious because there's a two leading terms, and then there's a two second term and one constant. So like what I said in here, the step one is transpose. What do we look for transpose? We're looking for constant and a lonely term. So let's rewrite this first. So let's combine every term so it's not confusing. So positive x squared and positive x. So yeah, let's just combine the x in the front, and then the y squared, and then negative 2y. It's laggy. Equal to positive 31. It's 31 because we transpose 31, so it will become the opposite of the seat signs. It will be 31. After transposing that thing is, now we will look if we should use factor or we should use complete squared. Here, let's see, the leading term has 1 on it. The second leading term has a y on it. So we're not actually using this factor because both leading terms has only 1 on it. It's not higher than 1. It's not lower than negative 1. So we're not using factor. So we're gonna use complete squared. In completing squared, we're looking for the c of both axes. So let's start with x. X now, so the bx, the second term of x is 4 because this is the leading term, and then there's the second term. Now we'll swap the b on this equation, so it will be like 4 over 2 squared. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2 squared. Remember that this is positive. So 2 times 2 squared, 2 times 2 is 4. So the answer is 4. So we can finally add 4 here. This is the constant of x-axis. Now we'll find the constant of y-axis. Like what we did to the x-axis, we will use the second term or the b. So we'll swap the b on it. So it's negative 2 over 2 squared. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1 squared. So 1 times 1 is positive 1. So we find the y-axis, the constant of y-axis is positive 1. Because we add 4 in the x-axis and 1 to the y-axis, we should add those two in the equal sign. What we do in the right side, we always do it in the left side. When we do on the left side, we always do it in the right side. Vice versa. 1 and positive 4. And this is actually 31. It's 31. Now that we have the full ABC of the general form of the x-axis, we can actually make it a standard, so it's much more smaller, and then we can actually get the value of x. To making to making a standard version of the x-axis is we will use the reverse FOIL method. So reverse FOIL method is like this. So it's like x, we get this 2, positive 2 squared. Now if we solve this x plus 2, it will get this answer. So let's try it. So if we solve this one, oh, it's a little bit laggy. Using the FOIL method is x times x is x squared. So x times 2 is 2x. So 2 times x is 2x. 2x plus 2x is 4x. And then 2 times 2 is 4. See, it's worked. It's mean that this standard form is similar to the general form. We just made it smaller, but it's the same value. It actually didn't change anything. So 2x squared. So we can use the method in here too, in the y-axis. Don't forget the plus sign or the positive sign on the y-axis, because it will look like you're multiplying this thing to the other side. So we get y. Oh, come on, it's a little bit laggy. Y, and then we'll use this the second solve, -1 squared. So if we solve this one using FOIL method, we will get this answer. Then we combine terms, all the constants, and in the right side. So 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 31 is 36. And that's how we get the constant. We use transpose and complete squared. So actually this method work, and we can use this method as in other general form too. Now let's try a parabola. Let's try this method in parabola. First, let's clean our canvas first, so it doesn't look like messy. Cut. Now we're gonna use this 3 type of method to a parabola. So first you will look for transpose. We will transpose a lonely term and a constant. This is the constant and this is the lonely term. So what will happen is those two will transpose to the right side. Let's rewrite it first. Y squared positive 2y equal 12x and positive 12x and positive 23. So we swap the sign of 23 and 12 because they are transposed to the equal. They will swap sign. As you can see, we done it, the transpose. We can use the factor here because look, the x-axis leading term is higher than 1, so we can use it. But before we use factor, we need to complete the square first, because after we complete the square, we will add something here, the value of something here. So let's first get the complete square before factoring. So that's again, we'll swap the second term to the b. So it will be look like this: 2 divided by 2 squared. It will be 1 squared 1 times 1 is equal to 1. So there is a positive 1 here and a positive 1 here. Now let's rewrite it. Because we complete the squared, we have the leading term, the second term, and the constant. We actually can convert it to standard form already. So what we'll do is we close parenthesis y, and the second solve, it's here, it's 1, positive 1. We're using this one and squared. And then as you can see here in the right side, those two is constant, the 23 and the 1 is constant, so we can add them both. We can add 23 and 1, so that will turn 24, combine like terms. Now we can use factor, because the leading term in the equal sign is higher than 1. So 12 divided by 1, 12 divided by 12 is 1, so it will be x. 12 divided by 24 is 2. Then we take 12. To double check if my factor is correct, 12 times x is 12x. 12 times 2 is 24. So it's correct. If you want to check if this standard form is correct, you can use FOIL method, and then if you get this answer of y squared positive 2y positive 1, it means this answer is correct. So this is actually the standard form of parabola. Now let's try this technique to a hyperbola. Let's see if it works. Well, hyperbola is a little bit complicated, but I think we can use this method to solve it. So first, like I said, is transpose. We will look for a lonely term or a constant. The only constant here is negative 284. So what will happen is will be 25x squared. Let's combine all the common term. So negative x positive 16 positive 16y and positive 32y is equal to a positive 284. So now we done using transpose. We can use factor because, as you can see, the leading term of x-axis and the leading term of y-axis is higher than 1. So now we will use factor to make it look like smaller. So in here, 25 divided by 25 is 1. So x1. 25 divided by 100, negative 100 is negative 4. and then times 25. So 25 times x is 25x squared. 25 times negative 4 is negative 100. Very simple. Similar here, same here. We're gonna use in the y-axis. In the y-axis, there is 16 is higher than 1. The leading term of y-axis is 16y squared, right? 16y squared is higher than 1, so we need to factor it. Now, to factor 16y x squared is like this. So, we will use its own number. So, 16 here. Then close parenthesis. 16 divided by 16 is 1, right? So, we're just gonna put y squared on it. Y squared. Y squared. 16 divided by 32 is positive 2. Y. Ta-da! Now you are done factoring it. Then equal to 284. Now if you want to check if your factor is correct, 25 times x squared is 25x squared. 25 times negative 4x is 100, negative 100x. So, this is correct. So, 16 times yx squared is 16yx squared. And 16 times 2y is 32y. It's correct. Now, we can use the complete squared. So, the we can find the constant of x-axis and constant of y-axis. So, just like before, we will use the b to divide by 2 and then to square it. So, our b here is negative 4 divided by 2 and squared. And the answer is negative 2 squared. That's the answer. Negative 2 squared. Then the answer will be 2 times 2 is positive 4. The difference here is this value will be used because magagamit natin yan, hindi mawawala si 25. So 25 times 4 is 100. So this is the answer, 100. So ang ano natin, ang x-axis natin is x squared. Ay, 25 muna. 25 times x squared. Negative 4. Negative 4x plus 100. These are a constant of x-axis. Because we added 100 to the x-axis, we will also add 100 into the equal sign to the right side. Next, let's find the y-axis, the constant of y-axis. So, like again, we will use the b. So, 2 divided by 2 squared will be positive 1 squared, positive 1 times 16 is equal to 16, positive 16. So, positive 16 is the squared, the constant of the y squared. So, we will rewrite it here. So, 16 times y squared positive 2y plus 16. So, these are constant. because we add 16 in this side, we will add 16 on the right side. After we find the constant, we can now make it a standard form. Making it a standard form is very easy. Just remember, don't forget the 25. So 25 x, then we will use this because there's a squared on it, so negative x squared. And in y axis naman is positive 16 times y, and then there's a square on this one, so we're gonna use that, positive 1 squared. Now let's clean it because I don't have a space. Wala na tayong space para magsulat. Oops, tatanggal ko yung di ko tatanggalin to. Wait. Yung equal sign natin di mawala. Cut. Ito na yung value natin, di ba? Tadaan! Now, pagka-combine na natin tong constant dito sa right side. So, gamit tayong calculator. Natamad ako mag-solve. 281 plus 200 plus 16 is 3. What? Parang may mali. 84 pala to. Ano to? Sa given, 84. My bad. 400. So, equal to 400. Parang na siyang standard form, no? Pero hindi. Meron kasi siyang ganito. Tatanggalin natin yan. Paano natin tatanggalin to? I-divide natin sila sa 400. Gagamitin natin yung equal sign para matanggal yun sa harapan nila. So 400 divide 25 is 16. So, para shortcut na lang, yung may 16 dito, ilalagay dito yung 16 sa baba. So 16 siya. Tapos ito din 25 dito, ilalagay sa baba dun sa y-axis. So y positive 1 square. Kung makakalimutan yung sign dito, may grades din yan. Over 25. Ngayon, 400 divided by 400 is equal to 1. Ito na ang standard form natin sa ano to? Hindi to hyperbola pala. Ellipse pala to. Ellipse. Kasi kung hyperbola yan, tapat negative yung isa dyan. So, yun lang. Transpose, factor, complete the square. Yun lang naman kailangan mong matutunan para mag-convert. So, di mo na memorize kung horizontal, vertical, di mo na rin memorize kung parabola, ellipse. Yung ellipse tsaka hyperbola, ganito din mag-convert ng general tsaka standard formula. Pinakaiba lang may negative dito or dito yung negative. Basta ba't pangalawa yung negative ng hyperbola. That's for today. Bye bye.